It is 4 p.m., Gold Room at the downtown Duluth Library. This is the AIPAC meeting for August 26th. And I'm going to just keep this recording going, hopefully pause at 5.
Whatever that is on there. Well, kids come, they have kids stuff down here too.
Bonjour, welcome.
Don't. This is not the right group. Friends, the library.
Oh, I bet you they're in the green room.
On the other side.
Or the green room. I'm in the gold room.
We are friends of the library.
And some waters. You are all prepared. Look at you. Right. Well, the water's going to be warm. So I'm not super prepared. I like it better warm. I do too. Except for out of the tap, then I like it really cold. Alright. I have to take 2 of them because it made me touch 2 of them.
Grandparent.
Sound good? Thank you.
Whatever. Native children. Grandchildren. Yeah. That was the coordinator.
I'm pretty good. I'm the office.
Exit of that, I'm sure.
It's just the
Spam.
I think I attended a couple last year, and I think.
Daughter remains in my lid.
Yeah.
I'm sure yours are too.
So you did.
Daughter, we live in college.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not going to say the name right now. Like
Kind of thing.
For the office. Yeah. And like
Appreciate
office work for her again.
you getting the notices and all that out. It needs to be done. It's very important. Yeah.
got him home to his stepdad.
We need people in there.
And
I've been in meetings all
They
day.
can't be involved if you don't have them.
Yeah. Well, and 4 o'clock is kind of a hard time, and I took off.
It's so funny when you do like on-site and remote meetings for some reason. They just stack them
I was called. They tried to reach me. And
with no time in between at all.
The worst way to be productive.
Listen, take it in.
I know he's
I have to be late to meetings to go use the bathroom. Probably.
Yes. I was not sure where you guys were. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you found us. Do you want to sign in? You can just do it right on there.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I knew you were.
It is just touch screen, so if you can't find the cursor, you should be able just to hit a box.
Trainer, since I work for St.
That's
Mary's,
same.
they're able to.
Okay, so these are the notes from the 13th?
From the first.
Yep.
Obviously, he's like.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I was asking.
Yeah.
One of the other boys is very close with.
We're about 4 minutes after the hour, so I'm just going to go ahead and start off with roll call.
I'm already done with the library.
We're going to give Amber a minute.
You guys are at the table. And Miss Williams too. I'm going over by Dr. Green's guy. I'm going to Cheap Street.
Bring the cheap
Did you get a
sheets.
fair and square for me?
I did.
sure they got out.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
not just me. You can't complain about that.
I know, I'm not, but like, I put on this sweater this morning thinking I was gonna.
Can I grab anybody a plate? Miss
No,
Williams?
thank you.
Mr. Bonds?
No, but thank you. I appreciate it.
And
I'll get
JP,
some of
before
these.
you leave, if you could sign in on the computer right behind you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll start again. We're about 5 minutes after the hour, and I'm going to go ahead and start with roll call with who is here. My name is Amber Greensky. I am one of the co-chairs for AIPAC at this point in time. I'm going to popcorn the Teague.
I am T, voting member of AIPAC.
You get a popcorn to me?
Yeah.
I just followed everything. Boujou, I'm Amber Lightfeather, and I am one of the acting co-chairs for AIPAC.
Hi, I'm Madonna Ose, grandparent of child.
I am Gray Black, Office Support for American Indian Education.
Good evening. Anthony Bonds, the Assistant Superintendent and serving as the interim coordinator for the American Indian Education Office. So good to see you.
I'm Teresa Severance. I'm the Executive Director of Human Resources and Operations for the school district. I am Stephanie Williams. I am a school board rep.
JP Rehnquist. I am a American Indian Homeschool Liaison at Denfeld High School. Also a district parent and uncle.
Is this a hybrid meeting or no?
No, this is just AIPAC.
No, I'm sorry, I meant hybrid as in, is there a virtual option?
Yeah, we are trying right now.
Okay.
It's not letting us get past.
Oh,
She's been trying, it just spins, and I've been trying, it's
Oh,
just
I
spinning.
might be able to put on my phone maybe,
Yeah.
if I'm lucky.
It's just spinning, won't let us get to our district account. Even though the Wi-Fi's connected, it won't let us get to the district.
Let me see if that's what do.
Just spinning.
I have up on the screen just the basic agenda for today's meeting, call to order, roll call. I don't think we have any minutes to approve at this point. We do have two, we do? Yes?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That can be,
I'll work on drafting some based on the previous recordings.
That's
Okay, I got people on my phone.
Oh, perfect.
Jen Garbo.
Awesome.
Love it.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, I'm sitting behind this way.
Do it. Everyone's waiting.
I'm going to ask for
Chromebooks now.
You want to use my
No, I'm okay.
So that's so cool.
I want the whole block to get
Do you, Mrs. Greensky, do you want me to ask the folks on the phone to introduce themselves? Because it looks like there might be more than one.
Yes, that would be great, and I will add them as virtual participants on our sign-in sheet.
It's just Jen Garbo right now.
I know
Go find says she's waiting.
Chair Derek Eater wanted to join virtually.
She said she could see, Mrs. Goldfein said she could see Jennifer, so she must be on her somewhere.
Yeah.
Brenda's over online.
It's different on here. On the phone.
Yes. You can ask what it is. I am the office manager at the Lucy School.
So where?
I mean, as long as she's there.
I'll find it. Oh, hey. Now she's in. Now Brenda's in. Okay. Sorry, Brenda, doing live from my phone because the Chromebook is still spinning.
Do we have an extra spot?
There's
Can I take
seats.
this chair?
Yeah.
This This one next to me is open
I'm
too.
gonna try to log on from another device too. I don't have a good connection here. I think I'm okay.
These are just photographic if you need.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm doing a sign-in sheet. Do you want to be listed on the sign-in?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I will let you so I don't miss any.
Mine's also spinning. So.
Oh, we go.
I don't.
Can I get anybody a water or anything?
We'll get that one organized. Just get that. It did make it wrong.
Going once, going twice.
Just
No, that's good. So just one sheet.
Just one sheet.
There's one more. Just one sheet.
Currently for the people virtual and for our recording, we're getting some documents passed out as part of our department reports for the staffing update for the American Indian Education Coordinator, a staffing update for other open American Indian education positions, and we'll work on the next bullet item after those updates. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Can you stack these for you on screen, Sky? Do that because you can.
Okay. Me going. I'll just let you do it. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to Mr. Bonds for these department reports.
Good. Thank you, and good seeing everyone again. Teresa Severance, our Executive Director for HR and Operations, is also here, and so she's going to, field any questions that you may have. So what has gone around is a copy of the various positions that are open. As you are aware, we've had a transition in leadership in our coordinator for the department. That Sheila White was in, and so now that position, after a revision of the job description, which we had some really good conversation with our different parent committees on providing some feedback, we were able to update that job description, which had not been updated in quite some time. So the American Indian Education Coordinator position is a brand new position. As a matter of fact, I want to say thank you to Teresa, who something we've been doing as of late is creating this nice brochure, other than just the description that we normally have. So we've been able to create a nice brochure that has the job description, which you have a copy of, and we also shared that with lots of organizations, so Teresa can share who we send this out to. I sent it out internally to all parent committees, so AIPAC, Title VI, JOM. I sent it also to EAC. I sent it also to all of our administrators. And what I asked everyone to do is to not only take a look at it, but also help us with some promotion by posting it to their social media sites and other professional organizations. So thank you to those who put it on their own social media and professional sites, because it helps our reach. Teresa, can you share what are the other places that we typically host all of these kind of positions? So can you name those? Some of those?
Yeah, that's, these are all individual. I think there's others.
I see what you mean.
So while Teresa is getting ready to pull that up, I'll just keep talking because also, as you know, today was a kickoff day for our staff. So yesterday we had our paras in, and then today all staff were in for our big district-wide professional development beginning the school year kickoff. I met this morning with our American Indian homeschool liaisons. GP was there, and so were all of the others, save one. We're there. We had a really good conversation to make sure that the homeschool liaisons are, real clear on how they can get resources, and that myself and the Gray is available. Gray was there as well to make sure that they have the resources that they need to keep the year off. I also extended an invite to our liaisons to also participate in the hiring process, and so we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I want to let you know that we had some really good dialogue already, trying to make sure that we share the job postings widely, and I have already started inviting folks to the interview process, and I'll tell you the dates of those interviews.
This list is long, so I'm not sure. What I can do is I can send it to you also, so you don't have to make notes of everything that I've indicated. But these particular positions were we have a group that we send to all the time. That includes the Minnesota Department of Education, the School Board Association, Minnesota Works, which is the state job site, K-12 Job Spot, which is specific to education, EdPost also to education, and Minnesota School Jobs. These particular postings were also sent and advertised on Tribal Nations, Education Committee Minnesota, National Indian Education Association, and the National Congress of American Indians. In addition, and this list that I'm going to go through now, all of our job descriptions are also, or all of our job postings are also sent to anytime we post a job, and these are emailed through our system. Various contacts at University of Minnesota, Itasca Community College, University of Wisconsin Superior, the Fond du Lac Band Reservation, the Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College, Community Action Duluth, College of St. Africa, Trillium Services, Grand Portage, HDC, Human Development Center, Itasca Community College, North Force, ARDC, Beach Lake Tribal College, MAC-B, Masadi College, Northwest Wisconsin Concentrated Employment Program, University of Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota American Indian Center, Center City Housing, SOAR Career Solutions, I believe they have a new name now, merged recently, Duluth Career Force, and AGO.
So as you see, we try to make it wide-ranging in terms of outreach, especially focusing on, as you heard, some of our sites that have a lot of potential candidates who are native and so forth. So that is also not only for that position, but also the same thing happened with the coordinator for our Ojibwe language and culture. Any position that we talk about, just know that this is who we send it to. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. So are you aware of another site that we might be missing that we should be considering?
It was a broad list. Did you mention, I'm not sure if I missed it, are all the Minnesota and neighboring states, all the tribal offices receiving? I heard Leech Lake and I heard Fond du Lac.
I heard Grand Portage.
Okay.
I didn't hear Boyd Ford.
Boyd
Do
Fort.
not have that on my list.
Yeah, they should be getting Boyd Fort and White Earth.
Red Lake.
Red Lake.
What's the name of
I mean, all of
but
them.
there's an office down there in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Well, she might have, so,
That's the one. I'm
Ms.
talking about.
Severance, that it's a great initial effort, that list that you talked about. I I heard that you said, so I think that the one of us or Mrs. Black can give you a list of all the tribal governments in Minnesota, and we probably have one of Wisconsin somewhere. You mentioned the AIPAC, the American Indian Higher Education Consortium, but I think that it would be, since it's like an email list, it's not like, I don't know if you do the faxes and stuff anymore, but like Red Lake Nation College, I mean, I would say all the tribal colleges in the state too, you know, and in part because like for this language coordinator, Ms. Everence, like they're Bemidji State and some of these, Bemidji State doesn't, that's different, but I mean like there's schools that are training people with those abilities that you want to reach. So I think if we, AHAC theoretically is getting to them, but there's, who knows if it gets printed out and put on the bulletin board or whatever. It would be good to, in my opinion, I don't know, does this support what you said, Mrs. Madonna? Of like, let's get the tribal colleges, let's get all the tribal governments and their employment agencies. Am I on that track with you? Okay. So, and then, again,
It says right here.
I mean, I can't, LCO College has, you know, we just went down there and they got fantastic training for something like some of these positions. So. But there's a real start over what's going in the paper and just whoever's, I mean, I'm not saying that's what you ever were doing, but you certainly getting out there more. It's like we're in the weeds of like this and that adding. It's not like there's not a start. You gotta start there.
Did the minister check what that on, was that on the list?
It is not.
Okay.
So if, as you think about other places, just please forward those names to, you know, three of us, myself, Gray, as well as Teresa. And if you just forget,
Red Lake
send
Nation
it
Embassy in
to
Duluth.
Gray and
Beach
myself.
Lake has a tribal office here. White Earth has a tribal office. I'm not trying. It sounds nitpicky, but it's just like that's where we're in the weeds now. You know.
Yes, and we're happy
That's what we do.
to them as well. You know, some of these are emails that we send to various people, and if there's sites that we should actually be advertising on, so that we'll reach out to the list that you send to see how they prefer, if they have their own way to post on their site, or if we need to email it to certain contacts there too, so we can find that out. You just give us the names and we'll do the research on it.
So right now we do have a tentative. We have some hold the. Want to share anything else right now?
Jen Garbo has
Okay.
her hand raised.
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just noticed it, Jen.
Just one suggestion. Hear that?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. One suggestion. Before we start the meetings, if we could just do a quick go around so those of us that are online know who's in the room.
Yeah.
I think yes, some of the voices I heard JP, hi JP, but it would just be
thanks for that, Jen. Yeah, I agree. We did just get some new people walking in the door, so going around and introducing ourselves is a good suggestion. I'll start it off. My name's Amber Greensky, and I am one of the interim chairs for AIPAC right now.
I'm Emma McNamee. I'm with the Duluth News Tribune. I'm just here to observe.
I'm Kate Goodska. I'm a voting member of AIPAC.
Amber Lightfeather, I'm one of the acting co-chairs.
Madonna Otis, grandparent of your child.
Gray Black, Office Support for American Indian Education.
Buju Anthony Bonds, the Assistant Superintendent for Teacher Learning Equity, so I oversee all things, including the Office of American Indian Education, and I'm serving as the interim coordinator until we hire someone, and so welcome.
Teresa Severance, I'm the Human Resources and Operations Director for the school district.
Hi, I am Stephanie Williams, and I am a school board member and the rep assigned to AIPAC, and I used to work in Indiana for the district.
JP Rehnquist, American Indian Homeschool Liaison. I work at Denfeld High School. I'm also Duluth Public Schools parent and uncle.
I'm Vanessa Sagatol. I am a parent of Indigenous children.
Danielle Fairbanks. What's a Red Lake Nation? I work at the Duluth Embassy.
Frances Sacco. I am grandparent of Indigenous students, and I work at the Red Lake Nation Embassy.
Jamie Bella Cruz. I am a American Indian liaison. And a parent.
How about our little folks back there, our little scholars? You want to say hi and say who you are? A little shy, but think about it next time. You're gonna say hi to us next time. So, individuals online, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Bushu Jennifer Garbo, parent.
My name is Brenda Goldpine. I am a teacher in the school district, and I'm a staff representative on AIPAC and politics.
Thank you. So then back to the, did you want me to continue, Amber?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to the job descriptions. Any questions? So you know that we have the coordinator for the department, the coordinator for the language. We can give you some, some quick numbers on where we are in terms of the number of applicants and where we are in the process.
When was this standard operating procedure for hiring American Indian education staff developed?
It's as recent as of about a week.
Okay. So we did not follow this procedure at the AIPAC consultation. We don't have a list of culturally relevant interview questions.
We haven't established interview questions for these positions yet, so we will certainly do that.
Okay. So I think that if we are looking for a coordinator, we need regular updates on what is happening. And I would actually prefer if we just had more direct answers to questions. So right now, how many candidates do we have in the running for this position?
4.
4? Okay. So you're saying less than 8 applicants, so we're going to follow condition B?
Yes.
All are going to be interviewed?
Yes.
Okay. How long has this position been posted?
And while she's looking that up, and the reason we created the standard operating procedures and hiring for American Indian education staff is because it's new. We want to make sure that we were showing that we were trying to honor what is required and make sure it's clear for our hiring managers. And we say hiring managers because our principals sometimes are the ones who do the hiring. It can be the coordinator who does the hiring depending on the position. And so we're trying to make sure that there's no ambiguity on what we're going to follow. So the reason we created this recently is just to make sure it's codified. So it's brand new in terms of its creation. We're going to, just like we did when we developed the job description, right? We didn't have this process in place, but we made sure, we assured the parents that we would make sure that you were involved, the committee that you were involved in the feedback for the creation of the job description, which you have been. And so you will be involved in the process for hiring. We will make sure that there's outreach on the actual questions, but we're just starting the interview process by starting the screening because the application's just closed. And so we're going to go through all these different things. So there are things to come. And we're going to make sure that we are honoring what we say in our operating practices. So we just ask for a little patience because it's all brand new and we're just starting the process. And we're here to give you the first full debrief on where we are in the process.
And to answer your question, the position was originally posted on 7/25, so we're going on 5 weeks almost.
And that's after a repost because the first round we had only a couple of applications or applicants, and we said no, we want to make sure we give it one more hard try to push and see if we can get some more applicants, and we were able to get a few more applicants as a result of it.
So this is something where I think we need to be reaching out to the American Indian community in particular. I did hear that there was a pretty lengthy place where we're sending these job positions to, but we need to make this tailored more towards Native communities because that's what we're trying to reach for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure. You want to call them folks? I don't.
Oh, I'll
I'm
let
gonna follow
Amber.
whatever process you want.
That's
to
okay.
follow.
No, I'll let Amber.
I just have a question. I'm reading your new standard operating procedures. The SOP says on the back page, interview committee formation, including a designated representative from AIPAC. So how is that decided? Who the designated representative is?
Today I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to ask AIPAC who's interested, and then I guess I would defer. This is where we're bringing in this conversation. Is the preference that the chairs identify who's going to be? Because right now we're saying, obviously we want, just like before with the other coordinators, there was participation with AIPAC involved in previous coordinators. We want your involvement in this one. You tell us what's appropriate.
Okay.
Because last time we didn't have I didn't ask the coordinator. I mean, I simply asked and in this case, I asked Amber if she wanted to participate. But again, you tell me how we like to proceed in terms of identifying from AIPAC who's going to participate. That's one, because I have already started asking representatives from our homeschool liaisons. I asked them this morning. A spot will be given to our immersion program as well. So there will be different individuals in terms of teachers. In terms of AIPAC, I refer to you. How would you like to do this?
I would say open it up to anybody who's willing. I would put my own name in the hat. So I see Teague also would be willing to sit on an interview team as well as Lydia.
I have a question for
Go
you.
ahead. Oh.
Is there anything in your bylaws that kind of dictates how to choose a person for any kind of role?
So given that this is
I understand this process is new.
Yeah, given the fact that this is a new committee, a new year, we don't have approved bylaws yet at this point.
Got
It is on the agenda, and I do have kind of a template to talk about later, but we don't have a formal process at this point quite yet.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Is there one in there for that?
There is one in there. As far no, there isn't one in there as far as making who sits on the hiring team. I think it would just be kind of we would establish a subcommittee, like a hiring subcommittee, which I see 3 members who would be willing to sit on that, and then we would. I guess the question would be popcorn back to you is how many parents can sit on that interview team?
Well, right now we have it as one because there's going to be other representatives in different roles, like from the homeschool liaison, as well as our immersion program, our summer program, as teachers and staff. So we're going to make sure, we're trying to make sure that someone in that committee, obviously, we have a good representation of folks who are Native, folks who may have, especially if we're looking and interested in the language, folks who may have the ability to help us assess the language. Because most often, I think you were, I'm trying to recall, I think you were involved in the last one, we try to ask questions of our candidates, and they are either required to speak in Ojibwe, or we see if they actually just naturally speak in Ojibwe, and then we ask, individuals in the room who can speak Ojibwe, like what was their proficiency, or how did they do in terms of.
This was when we were talking about the the updated, what is it, job description. I kind of was unsure why being able to, it's good, but why it was necessary for an administrative role to be fluent in the language. And that's mainly because I experienced some confusion as far as, even that was my question today. You mentioned the Ojibwe language coordinator, but we were told that doesn't fall under American Indian education, right? We weren't involved in that process, the interview process, the job description. But it gets mentioned here at meetings like this. So I'm a little bit confused where the language coordinator fits in American Indian education, and where we fit into that too. What your beliefs are, because like I said, we're told we don't have a role in that area, that they don't have, they don't have a role with AIPAC, and then we're told, yes, they do, and I just need that clarified.
Jen Garbo has her hand raised.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask, I'm trying to follow Mrs. Green. I'm just trying to follow your procedure in terms of like how you want me to respond, or you want to call.
I would let Jen talk.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Clarifying question, the first time the position was posted, was it posted for 5 weeks or so?
The education coordinator,
Yes.
it's still posted.
Okay, and then the second time it was posted for about the same amount of time?
It's a total of 5 weeks. I think the first time it was 3 weeks, and then it was extended before it closed for an additional 2.
Correct.
So 7 weeks total?
5 weeks total.
From the first and second time?
Yes, so it was posted 3 weeks the first time, and then extended for 2 additional weeks.
Okay. Okay, so in 5 weeks, this kind of gets back to that recruitment piece. In 5 weeks, so this is a good position. I think the salary is fair for our area, and the work is good. In 5 weeks, 6 applicants doesn't seem like a very high amount, and I can't help but think that if anyone in the education area, in Indian education specifically, is keeping track, they're seeing that this position keeps getting reposted, and that's a big red flag for folks. And so I just implore that the next person who is hired, that retention plan is really in place. So that's my plea to this group.
English.
Can I
Oh, yeah.
Is it, Ms. Severance, is it open, is the Indian Ed coordinator open now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I thought I heard it closed. No, it's open through tomorrow. Okay.
I just, information I'm offering is that I did send it out to our Denfeld Parent Square parents. You got it. Dr. Goodsky, you got one, right? You got the mention? Just to Denfeld, Mrs. Garbo.
In the administrative was the education equity director position is the only position I saw. I did not see the Indian education coordinator position.
And so just, thank you, Mrs. Garbo. I talked to at least one parent today, very interested. Actually, they were interested for their partner, and they said, check the website. So that's helpful. If that's correct, that's troubling to me, Mrs. Garbo. But so like literally a parent said, oh, I'm going to check that out. And if they go to the website and it's not there, then that's kind of
It's there.
unfortunate.
It's there.
The vetted candidate also reach out, and we said, no, check the website, and it's there. And I know
there.
It's there.
And actually now when I look at the front side, the actual where people would go and apply, it does show it was initially posted at on 6/25. So it was 7, almost 8 weeks. My apologies.
That's what I'm saying, because it's been quite a while.
So I just want to clarify, did I mishear you, Mrs. Garbo? Did you say you checked and it wasn't on the website?
I checked, but maybe the website, not to criticize, it's not the most user friendly. I don't find it, but it's okay. That's fine. So if it was 8 weeks, in fact, that is even more to my case that only 6 applicants in 8 weeks. And it's a good position. It's a senior leadership position, but in Indian country, I will say that Native professionals do keep track of what's happening across the state, certainly, and even across the nation. And Indian education is a very small community, and if positions keep getting reposted, it's a real red flag. And so, this is kind of the loose, big last hurrah to really get it right. And so that retention plan is really, really important.
And I agree. I'll add to that, and then I'll kick it back to you, Mrs. Scott. It is important, and so that's what I was going to implore, just like I implored the homeschool liaisons this morning, and everyone I talked to is, with our new coordinator coming on, it's going to be really important that we all, embrace this person, make sure that we have in place the systems and structures that have been complex and challenging for others and dynamics. I want us to work through all of them and reset as many of those things as possible so that this coordinator can feel like they have a chance of being successful, because it's going to take everyone, including our entire community, our families, within our district structures and our district leaders, self-included, to make sure that we are supporting this new individual. So I agree. So
Lydia has her hand raised. So, circling back, because we had talked about how there was the language coordinator that was hired, but then AIPAC was on the committee, but that's not out of funding. So, including AIPAC members on a hiring committee, is that something that's only being done for positions that are funded out of Indian education funds? Because, like, in my mind, an Ojibwe language teacher serves all students, but it has a specific targeted student of our Indigenous student population. It's not paid out of, from my understanding, AIE funding. So is that why AIPAC was not included in on that, because they're not paid out of our funding? Or, like, are we only included when our funding pays for the position?
the answer is no. And that's why we have the new standard operating procedures is articulating, moving forward, what you can expect, and the expectation is not only will it be for those positions that are funded with our grant dollars, but other positions, if they are, just like we said in the standard operating procedures, if they are directly providing instruction for Native students. Now, save, and this was the save that, there might be, every teacher is, they have students who are Native, so is their expectation that AIPAC participate on the hiring of a math teacher? I think that would be overwhelming, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about ones that are funded with the grant, and then those other positions that are key. For example, the Sabacon. It's not funded by, they're funded by state dollars, but it's really important. It's because it's the preservation of the language, and that's why it's our immersion program. It's really important to the families and to the community, and has been communicated to us. It's really important. So I think it's important for you all to be involved in the hiring of, positions that are connected to the immersion, and as well as the language position. So I don't know who to call first. If you want me to do this, I can call one.
If you see someone first, kind of I consider this kind of your little piece. So
okay, I just want to
go
make sure
ahead and call on whoever is appropriate.
Whatever protocol we have in place. Yes.
I really suggest
procedure. We just need to have more representatives from AIPAC. The fact that there were so many questions about who the designated representative was in the first place, that could have been something that I feel could have been a conversation or something where we were approached and asked, you know, how would you like to elect a representative or how should we go about that? But those conversations didn't happen. I had asked very explicitly about this position actually within the past few weeks, and I don't really consider this a strong response. This kind of creates more questions for me, to be honest. It limits participation a little bit when we're just having one person who's going to go in and make hiring decisions. That's going to make I think our whole committee really uncomfortable, because then it's down to one person who's relaying that information.
Can I jump in? Because the hiring decision is still ultimately like HR and management and that. So we're getting input, and I hope that whoever, if it is 1-2 people, that they are bringing that information back to AIPAC and discussing it, you know, so there's a dialogue.
The discussion needs to be between us and the administration.
Well,
though,
yeah,
when it
just
comes
like for school board, now our whole school board isn't here at AIPAC because that would be overwhelming. So as the school board rep for AIPAC here, I'm going to go back to school board and say, this is what we talked about. I guess that is how I imagine you see a representative of AIPAC is talking to AIPAC as a whole. This is who we saw. This is what I think of this person, that person. What do you think? I will bring it back to the hiring committee. But maybe I'm not seeing that correctly, but that's not why my hand was raised. I had a follow-up question on what you were saying about that person sitting in on hiring committees. Does that include, with vested interest in Indigenous students, does that include paras and liaisons or just instructional staff?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Pairs and liaisons and teachers. That's why
Okay.
I
I didn't know if that was inclusive.
Yep. So that's why I made sure they were invited, because
Yeah.
first meeting today with me was this morning, so they became aware of it, and there was an invite. So I do hear Chief saying she believes that there should be more. AIPAC should have more representation at the committee. So I'm hearing that, but we're letting you know that it's not only just AIPAC, but then in an interview panel, just picture this, because some of this comes down to just interview, how we approach interviews, and the size of a committee, right? Because there's other representatives that need to be there. We have teachers that need to be there, paras. We have other staff that would like to be a part of it. We have administrators that will be, part of it. And we're obviously going to have our parents part of the panel. So we try to be considerate of like how large the interview panel, even the pictures from right now, we try not to have an interview that has 15 people in there and candidates having to sit there. So we try to manage how large of a size that we have for the candidate, and we try to make sure it's really diverse. And right, and so we try to make sure there's a balance. So I'll go with Teague and then
Emma, can you find the statute that talks about our participation in interviewing and hiring decisions? Because I thought that was reinforced by statute. I thought that's why we were trying to get involved in this process.
That relates to the comment I was just about to make. This standard operating procedure is just talking AIPAC, but there's also a requirement for Title VI involvement and JOM involvement in hiring, especially if this is a person who is paid for in any part out of title funds. So that might solve we need more American Indian parent involvement on these hiring teams, because one should be AIPAC, one should be from the title, representing the title committee, and one should be representing the JOM committee. And there is, I'm pretty sure, in the title VI guidelines.
Bylaws?
Not bylaws, guidelines like the federal code CFR 25, or that's probably the wrong thing I'm saying.
and I guess in trying to make sure we go in order, so that's why we referenced the statute that is being discussed. We made sure we're trying to make sure we honor. That's why we put it in. We said, Teresa and I talked about it. We said we want to get this right. What does the statute say? We did our homework. We said, okay, we know that what the statute requires, and so that's why we have it articulated here on the standard operating practices.
Yep.
We try to figure out how we're going to ensure that you're involved in screening, that AIPAC is involved in the hiring, and that we have representation, that we do all those different things. So we're trying to honor what statute is saying. Just know that. Back to what you just described, I just always throw out as a caution on hearing what I'm trying to share is like trying to make sure the size of the interviews are really, we have to be thoughtful on how large they get, because there's other folks that need to be involved and represented. But we're trying to have the commitment that we need to make sure that there's a good diversity of staff there, and especially with the positions where our native students are involved, that we make sure we have individuals who will be involved who, again, will be really diverse, and there will be definitely representation there. And if we start dividing up by the grants, there are many positions that are not funded by the grant itself, right? There are several positions that are special ed funded. There are positions that the achievement integration monies fund. So we're just trying to make sure that we have a good representation. So I guess, can we work together to make sure that it's a good representation without having such an overwhelming committee where it becomes too unwilling for the candidate, too unwilling for us to try to manage?
And I guess in my past experience, it was open to all committee members. I think 2 to 3 signed up, and only 1 actually showed up. You know what I mean? So saying, only this one person is allowed, it kind of limits, when things like that happens. So saying, these 3 people, 1 from each committee, were given the opportunity. At least 1 showed up, and then can be some cross kind of communication, like, okay, this is who we interviewed, this is who my top choice was, this is who they actually hired,
One second. We see the hand, we're going to come to you. I want to make sure Lydia, then
So in the past, what we had done similar to what Amber had just described is that, and I feel that this worked pretty well, is that the HR or whoever the lead, it wasn't for hiring the coordinator, but whoever's in charge of that sends out the email to the committee and says, hey, we have interviews on this day at these times. Who is available? Because I think what was happening in the past is like trying to find a time that works for everybody got kind of hard, and like trying to be more accommodating to the applicants, because we want them to come in and be able to interview. And it was like, hey, we have interviews for this position on this date at this time, or like here's a couple different times that we've offered, who can come, and then it's just really open to people on the committee. And we had like 2, sometimes 3 AIPAC or JO committee members attending that, and it's just opened up to whoever can, because everybody's availability is different. And I think putting it on like 1 specific or 2 specific people could potentially limit scheduling. Like it could create scheduling conflicts where that representative from the committee is not able to go at the time that the candidate is able to go, and now we can't do an interview, and then we're prolonging the interview process and possible hiring process. So I feel like part of like what Amber Green Sky was saying, that's similar to how we had been doing it in the past, in my experience has been successful in making sure that there is at least, but possibly 2 of the parent committee members at those interviews. Even if it's not the same person, it's still somebody from the committee that can take that information back and say, hey, these are my thoughts, this is what I saw, and then give a response to the district. That's what I have found successful. I don't know what.
And we're open to that. That's what I'm saying. Like you, and I'm hearing, this is all new, right? I mean, in terms of like, we're trying to make sure we honor these pieces. So if AIPAC would like to let us know the process that we use, we're going to tell you the dates in a minute. Like, here are the dates that we have set up. If I give you dates and you let me know who you would like to have as a, 2 people that you're going to say as a representative and serve on the committee and express interest, that means they know the date and time and there's commitment there. We're going to do, however, we're trying to structure whatever works for everyone. At the same time, there's others that we're trying to schedule our principals and teachers and pull them out of classrooms and sub coverage, and we're trying to do a lot of make sure there's a good representation. So T and Jamie.
Okay, so I do think this needs to be changed. Do you consider this to be policy from the district? Because it's been written by the district? Or what is the schedule for making changes to the standard?
This is really just draft. So we're bringing it here, as you said, you haven't seen it before because we just put it together based on discussion. So yeah, absolutely open to changes.
So I think we need to change that a designated representative. We can say designated representatives, so that leaves it more open. I would just consider this a really limiting statement. We want to have as much participation as we can. We have a lot of different parents from different walks of life who are going to interpret things differently. So one person can go in and be the representative, bring something back. It might not be something that the whole committee agrees with. I'd like to have at least 2 people so we can have a more balanced perspective.
And I guess we had talked a little bit earlier, and it's like you were said, they're very overwhelming. People made lots of suggestions, but you know, it came back to kind of like the important parts that you want people in the room who kind of know what these responsibilities are too. So it's like you could have 20 principals in the room and lots of people, and none of them know about the American Indian Education grants. So that really doesn't do a lot of good for this and the people who like work in that department. So it's going to not just, maybe not necessarily so many people, but the people with the right information to know if this person is qualified or really knows about these grants and that information. You know, and that, well, yeah, cultural stuff too, but definitely like the responsibilities, what Indian education is, what the grants are for. You know, like we talked about earlier, it's like 3 or 4 of them, so it shouldn't, you know, be the end all be all. It's totally possible. It's totally possible, but having like someone there who is with the relevant information, I think is very key.
Mrs. Garbo, and then JP.
Yep, so even though this isn't a director's position, we can see that it is quite complex, at least, I mean, even in the interview process. Could there be a 2-part process like there is with other senior level positions, that it could be more encompassing? I mean, I know decisions would still need to be made in terms of who's at the table first, but that it could be more people included without it being overwhelming, where it's just one interview and it's just like a one and done thing.
The answer is yes, and we've done that before, and I was going to suggest that, but that also lends itself to questions and more wonderings about the final product, right? So, because what Jen is describing is we've done it before where we invite anybody who wants to be a part of the interview panel for the first round, right? It ends up being a big group of individuals, you know, who are part of their first round. The second round then gets more precise in terms of like administrators, principals, and maybe representatives from, you know, AIPAC for the second round after the first round has given their feedback, you know, and we take the applicants down, let's say from 6 to 3, right? But then there has to be an agreement that, okay, that first round was the opportunity for deeper input, and then now we have these final 3, and then there's another committee with representation there from a variety of leaders and, you know, AIPAC and others, who then ultimately makes the final hire. It's just, we are open to that if we believe, if that's going to feel more inclusive, but I just want to make sure that the end product is still something that that everyone is agreeable to and comfortable with. So it could be a 2-stage, or it could be one and done, and we have, you know, 2 individuals from AIPAC. I just want to make sure that you feel good about the end product and there's not